And that brings us to the co-main event here for PFL Chicago. And if you're enjoying the content, hit that like and subscribe button as we break down Josh Silveira taking on Jordan Newman. I think this is a great co-main event, a very even matchup in my opinion. And let's start off with Josh Silveira here, obviously training at American Top Team. A former 205er now that's come down and had success at 185, obviously coming off that victory against Ramazanov. And I got to say, he's a guy that I've not necessarily been that high on. I think even at 205, I was never really that high on him. He did wrestle Division I at Arizona State, but he is, kind of fallen in love with the jiu-jitsu and the striking, and you don't necessarily see too much out of the wrestling, but I think that's going to get tested here against Jordan Newman, the former two-time NCAA Division III champion. And I think realistically, this matchup is a very even matchup, as I'm going to explain here. And I think both guys are actually mirror images of each other. And when you look on the feet, both guys tend to throw one shot at a time. Big power shots, kicks to the head, kicks to the body. Both guys will fight behind the jab. Jordan Newman, obviously 8-0 at this point, is still undefeated. But we saw in one of his previous fights that, he got dropped. He had to come back early in that first round. And he had to weather a storm. And he's a guy that I think in a lot of fights, if he can't get you to the ground and he has to have a back and forth striking affair, it's really just going to come down to what his cardio looks like late in fights, along with the fact that Silveira is a guy, again, that I think he slows down as fights go on. But I'm actually going to go with Josh Silveira here. I think that he can push a little bit more of a pace than Newman. I think that Silveira is going to have to defend the takedowns of Jordan Newman early in this one. But I do think that the striking of Silveira is just going to be a little bit better, a little bit cleaner than Newman. And I think realistically, when you look at Josh Silveira, he's fought the higher level competition at this point as well. He is a guy that obviously trains at American Top Team with much higher level training partners, in my opinion. And I think that he's going to come in here, defend the takedowns of Newman, and I think he's going to take over late in this one. We saw him, he was able to defend a lot of the wrestling attacks of Ramazanov in his previous fight. And I think realistically, this is just going to come down to the striking. And I think Silveira knows that he can put a little bit more output out there. I think he does a good job as well of digging for underhooks, reversing position, and beating people up in the clinch, which I think he can have success against Newman here. I think he can wear on him as the bigger fighter as well, obviously a former 205er. I think he can really use that extra weight that he's going to have, I think, in this matchup and kind of wear on Newman, gas him out a little bit here. I'm expecting maybe like 29-28 Silveira or a split decision maybe even here. I think Jordan Newman wins the first round with his wrestling, but I think he gets a little bit tired, and I think that he has to fall back on the striking, which is where I think he's going to be a step slower. So give me Josh Silveira here. Not confident in this one, but I do think Silveira is, a little bit more comfortable on the feet. The pedigree in terms of him fighting in the PFL and fighting the bigger names is going to serve him well. And I think Jordan Newman here, even though he is a high-level wrestler, the higher-level wrestler in terms of what he's been able to win in that sport, I think when it comes to his overall striking and his cardio, I'm yet to see it. He could pull off the victory here, but I'm going to go with Josh Silveira to get this one done as the cleaner striker, defending the takedowns and winning a close split decision.